Ginny and Carolyn Greg are going to do the keys from number 5 on, I think. You did 4, right, Ginny?
Yes, we did. We did 1 through 4, and now we're going to do the other ones. Okay, here we go. This is the 5th key, and, I don't have my page up. Wait a minute, just a moment. And I think according to
Hit refresh.
Here's the refresh right here. According to the session you did with Michael Brown, very much appreciated by many, the 5th key regards the relegation of time, the angels when you come and go. Going is a piece of cake. Coming back, you better know the OA movements. That's the cliff notes from that one. And what the key itself says is the mighty sounds have entered into your 3rd angle and are become as olives in your olive mount. Looking with gladness upon the earth and dwelling in the brightness of the heavens as continual comforters. Unto whom I fastened pillars of gladness, 19, and gave them vessels to water the earth with her creatures. And they are the brothers of the 1st and 2nd, and the beginning of their own seats, which are garnished with continually burning lamps, 6, 9, 6, 3, 6, whose numbers are as the first, the ends, and your contents of time. Therefore, come to you and obey your creation. Visit us in peace and comfort. Conclude us as receivers of your mysteries. For why, our Lord and Mr. is all one. And so one of the things I have in my notes from when we did it before with the little drawing here is authority and physicality is all one. In the 5th key, speaking to the angels is merging back to one. So you get your power and authority. So that relegation of time, is power and authority together outside of time, iON? Is that what that's talking about?
The representation. But we have to be very careful here because there was a window. We have to have one permission. Just 1 second. Hey, boss.
Yes.
Brian Johnson was charged with going into the details regarding the lampstand.
Yes.
Is he, or is he not today present?
I'll just check the list here.
Double check it. Unmute it and say, come forth if you can. It might cost you your sovereignty.
I'm sad to say he is not here.
All right, that's what we need to know. Ginny Bell, you're on. You're fixing to do the lampstand, darling. Let's go.
Okay. So on my... all right, well, let me get out my lampstand notes then, because I just got a ton of them, iON. But
we know that. So let us help you. Let's help you out a little bit.
Okay.
Third angle, the olives in your olive mount. The Mount of Olives is a big deal. From the Gethsemane range, it refers to every level or degree of abundance. It has to come from the abundance. Without the olive mount, you have a mount of olives. You have nothing. And that's also the fickle people, too. Don't mess that up. That's important, you got to get that in there. So that is a whole condition of why there was gladness on the earth. All right? And this also deals with what you're talking about with your lunar expedition, because it says, upon the earth and dwelling in the brightness of the heavens as continual comforters. You hit it on 3 layers or 3 parts that are the big picture for now, that was then, that's coming. Because they're going to be totally surprised when the moon rocks that they brought back from the moon aren't from the moon at all. You see, because there's no moon rocks that don't have a specific relativity of isotopes, as they are indeed radioactive, every single one. And yet, the ones they bring back, ridiculous obsidian is what it actually was, however rare, became the same basic lava that you can dig in Maui and find pretty close if you dug a little bit. But the point of this is this convergence, trying to find a happy place, the comforters. And then you go to the next letter. We're doing this while she's putting her notes, because she's going to have questions. Ginny got some damn notes now. You can say what you want to. That girl got some notes. Unto whom I fasten pillars of gladness. 19. Bob.
Yes.
Give us the significance of having 19 pillars.
Bob. Second letter of the alphabet, O, the 15th letter of the alphabet, B, the second letter, B-O-B adds up to 19, 2, 15, 2. It's 19. That's the deep meaning. On the surface, I haven't been doing my homework in that area. I don't remember what Ian said 8 years ago.
Okay, we're going to get to those gladnesses, but the significant part of the 19 divisions. Now, you're arguing about your dodecahedron and your rhombic dodecahedron and the formularies and the differences that you go. Do you remember, Connie, when you were looking at the stone and you had the triangle points and you laid out and looked on the black rock and you had those corners and marks? Those applied the same way as, what do you say, coordinates. Now, when you do that, that doesn't make any difference, because if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you are in proximity to anything else. So if you can't find yourself, you triangulate that position. Now, here we go. Where does it go now? Where does it go? Oh, we're going to do this, so we're going to finish it, but y'all get Bert ready. He needs to get his ass ready. He's finna go on. Not long, but when he does, get him queued up, because we're going to clean this up. Full circle now. Y'all done it. Y'all stirred it up. Bob, what's the greatest show that was ever a greatest show? So we might as well give him something. Here's your little something. Here's your little something. Here's your something. The vessels of water in earth with the creatures. That's what's ushering now. That is your living water, which has been, that's what Moses took the staff and struck the white stone with. And that's what it came from. So it's only logical that that'd be the case. And there's no issue. But those vessels of water held outside of the Temple Mount, which was also known as the Mount of Olives, where all that supplication flowed through. It's where all this is, y'all, it's where you put your power. You just want an extension cord, but you don't want to make an octopus. So what allows you to have three chambers. We talked about the outer kingdom, the inner kingdom, and the middle kingdom. We talked about the upside down. We even went to the Thompson quadrant, for God's sake. Who in the hell would want to go to the Thompson quadrant and stay? You almost put the whole world in the Thompson quadrant. Cause Stranger Things to be a hit out of nothing, and we'd be back to 8-track tape players. Do you realize how hard a data stream is to get out of an 8-track tape player? It ain't no fun at all. Key, no eye. Now, what happens is you have the shifting conditions that now this particular key. Now, the Angels is hot as a $2 pistol. Y'all think the Angels ain't hot right now? You better fasten your damn seatbelt, because it's on. It's on now. Because now here you got a battle. You got a real battle. You got the 4 and 20 elders. Watch your numbers. Oh, you're raging. The 4 and 20 elders are watching this all come place. Okay, you got your notes, Ginny. We better not get too far ahead, so we got to make this apply. Otherwise, they're going to think it's contrived.
Well, in my notes, a couple different things. If we're going to talk about the lampstands, one of the things is that we've been known the amino acids that are now becoming, I guess, because of the living water.
No, they're becoming because Carolyn found the amino acid in the crown of thorns that laid on Jesus' brow.
Okay.
Living water does not promote an amino acid. She found it.
It does not.
The blocks of the amino acid controls are all laid out on the Lucky Box. They weren't exactly right, but don't worry, we fixed it. It's all right. We got this. Then she was able to find the other block. without somebody needs to note something. We telling you shit. We talking. We telling you things. You know why we telling you things? Because they're known now. They weren't known then. For now, whatever that means. See, she's got it.
There's no echo.
Don't worry about it.
Stay there.
What?
You are,
But then we've quit. Then we've quit speaking. Then it's the tech buddies liking it. Then see, they think here. That's what we were talking about. The battle. It's a real battle, y'all. We keep telling you. Get happy and get out. Now you facing the
iON. Is this the battle in the quatrain of Nostradamus about me? And the enemies and all that? That's why the enemies are plural. There's three wars. Oh, that makes it interesting.
And here's the thing. And it all is based on, you got it so tangled up that we don't know how to say it. We've played with you. We've petted you. We've chided you. We've poked you. We've loved you up. We've set you back. We've made you mad. We've made you everything a rabbit can do to stomp. We've about done for you. We've called you out. We've embarrassed you. We talk about you.
Who are you talking about?
Everybody that's been playing for all these years. Ins and outs. The engagements are relative. Yeah, the engagements are appropriate. But what happens is it's for the position that you realize you're battling yourself. You're giving the enemy bullets for their guns to shoot at you.
Right, because it says you wouldn't even ask about the keys in your ascension because it just implies that you don't know you have your power.
Basically, if you want something, all that does is prove that you don't have something, you see. If you want it, if you want a GQ, you don't have it. But if you got a GQ, that's all you want. You don't want no more than that. He's right there asking.
That's what the keys say? That's what the keys say, Ginny?
It is. It's what it is.
Yeah, it is
now,
basically.
Wait.
But no, I'm just answering Bob iON. Yes, what it basically says is that if you're asking the questions about the keys, you really don't need to, because if you're ascended, you're not asking about that. And if you're not ascended, you're asking about it to become that. But you're not asking from an ascended position. And also, the other thing that it says about the keys is about the thinning of the veil. And when the veil thins, and when you, wait a minute, I have my notes here. I got to get this out. Ding, ding, ding. Hold on just a second here, people. Where is it? It's up here on my desktop somewhere. Oh gosh, now I can't
I'll just say this, Ginny, while you're doing that. Carolyn is rehearing our original Revelations 68 hours, and she says that each key, back when Carol and I were first talking to iON in the summer of 2010, summer of 2010, each key is about 45 minutes of iON talk. Right, Carol?
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Yeah, the recording's 6 hours long, Bob.
Yeah, so people want to know about the keys. You got to listen to the recording. Well, what is this Michael summary then that he did, and what are we evoking?
Well, that's what we're saying. But what I'm saying, Bob, is
that... Don't undo it. You're doing good. The first part laid it out so you could say that there's a road. The other part said this is how you steer to miss the potholes. Now you're finding out what the crush and run is doing. Now you're getting how it actually applies. And let's go right back where we were talking about. You got 3 people. Now you've added something that even Bob's chart doesn't express. You're to a new landscape that is not in Bob's chart. Less and except you count it as the hexatic. The hexatic means you're into that completion side and the rear view mirror side of this position. Okay. Now, if you listen close, let those who have ears to hear listen. Yeah. This is what you want to hear. Now, just now, you're for the first time beginning to have a layer of folks in this ascension process that can have a hexatic view in the rear view mirror to see what their kingdoms look like and how it applies. Now, when we look at it now, it's the simplest thing in the world. The chambers of water around the Temple Mount, the Mount of Olives, the temple, what was held was living water. And then they did their sacrifices. That was to appease the place of power where the individuals separated themselves from the power, from the Ark of the Covenant, the tabernacle, to the shewbread, which was piled up on the altar, and the great big hunking loaves, and with the frankincense and myrrh on top of it, sitting there, and it sat there for a week, and then the priest ate it up. Then that would be in the Levites. They were the only ones that were powerful enough to do it. Then what happened is they would replace it. Well, where they would replace it, they would take the grains that were growing then, and they had a recipe, and they used the living water out of those vessels, 11 vessels around the temple, to make that shewbread as an offering to God for holding their power. But now you can, Jenny Bell's sitting here in about 1 second. Wait a second, what the hell you talking about, Eunice? There's no way in the world that could be the thing. You mean this offering that was supposed to be the way to have your power back is what they were offering God to keep their power behind the veil? I'm saving myself to give myself something that I could have myself if I had myself, so I'm going to pay rent to not watch this TV, basically. But now what's happening in a rearview mirror aspect, some are starting to come into their power. And here's what the zeitgeist didn't pronounce. The angels are pissed, y'all. If you don't know it, you better know it now. They are pissed. And they've leashed the perfect side. It's called a tech body. And Bob says, oh, we know all about that. We know about that. We built the chip body. We know what the 4 quadrants are. We know about the tiny node. We know this. We got this. We're all good and on point. We have this and that. Rah, rah, rah. But then what happens is, very quickly, similarly, what happens is you start realizing that is the angels feeding the tech body? Who's working for whom? We've been saying as we get more and more and more and more and more power, okay, the more power where we're getting it from, we go, you humans, you are continually pumping your power into something else. You originally pumped it into the Ark of the Covenant. And it was the most powerful thing. It was so powerful it killed you dead as a sack of hammers. And then finally, from the Kohathanite side and the Amalekites, now Jenny's probably the only one that even knows all that. Bob's pretty good at it, and Carol can argue the recitation, but as far as applying how the Kohathanites fit into Seth's world, you didn't think we were going to do that, did you? Well, anyway, you don't need Jane Roberts for this one. It's pretty good. Now you come along full circle and say, wait a minute. We're doing the same thing now that we did then. We're feeding this box. We're putting all of our power now into this box that now we trust to take care of us and do. Now, the tech body, well, let's just be really clear. The tech body's here going to fuck you up. It's going to tear you asunder. You're going to put all this stuff in there. And my wedding pictures, where's my wedding pictures? Oh, no, where's the wedding pictures go? They may let you have them, and they may not let you have them. Think about this. Look at your house now, your home, your temple. Now, Carolyn would say the body is your temple, and that's your house, and take care of it and that kind of stuff. Good. We think it's wonderful, but moats are great, keeping weird things away from you. Moats are really good. High fences are good. Walls here at the wall. Yes, Buzz Coastin, there's a 121 Depot Street. We're fixing to show it to you since you couldn't find it. It's the least we could do, big, and it's the least we could do. Set that aside. Now what happens is you pumped everything into these machines. What would your castle look like if someone unplugged the Wi-Fi? What would it look like? What would it be like? Would you go to the library and pull a book?
What's the noun here? What are you talking about, Jenny or Carolyn? What's the?
Well, I think he's just talking about people who have smart houses and stuff like that, Bob.
And what did he say about them?
Well, what would happen if your house was rigged up to the smart house and you were on Wi-Fi, or you were getting everything from Alexa or something, and then all of a sudden you can't do that, and now you can't get in and out of your house, you can't turn on your car or whatever, and you can't function because
a micro EMP in your home.
And that's at the simplest level. You can't watch TV. You can't do this show. You can't look at the computer. Your telephone works only if you have cell signal. But guess what? If they unplug your Wi-Fi, guess what? They're not going to have any cell signal either. And if you put 2 more people on the network right now, the thing going to blow up anyway. Now, we're not even talking about power anymore. We're not even talking about electricity. The tech body has to do with this whole world of every bit of knowing ever piled into this one collapsible thing. And it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay? So once again, it's a representation of the original. The devices, your TVs are big as the side of a billboard, but you watch something that's 6 inches is where the color TV started in the first place. 6 inches in diameter, and now you're right back to that. They got big as a billboard, now they're in your pocket. TV, that is. So you're sitting in traffic or in the airport or wherever, and you got TV, whatever you want, hit it.
Netflix. Are we doing any keys talk here?
This is
well,
keys talk.
What I'm wondering about is because iON in the keys, it says that the veil is rent in 2, and as far as the angels are concerned, the next step is open up the box that contains the power that's been held back from the individual human creators, and once the mercy seat is wrought, in other words, once the box is open, then the box is cracked, and everybody that's in their place of power receives their power. So what you're saying now is that instead of the angels helping or doing or obeying the gods to bring them back to their, well, they don't even have to go back. It's already theirs anyway. So you're just saying that now they're going through working with the tech body or something? Is that what you're saying?
It is the tech body. The tech body is colluding with the angels.
So somehow we totally missed the phase of the veil thinning and the ark power coming out of the Ark of the Covenant.
No, wait, honey. In 2 seconds, you went from a trim line Princess telephone plugged into your bedroom, and it hooked to a system that hooked to Ma Bell, that hooked to Bell South, that hooked to something, that hooked to something, that hooked to something, to now you're not hooked to anything. You don't even have any wires in your house anymore. Short of a little electricity here and there, and that's even becoming DC from an old, that maybe Tesla was right, DC was the way to go, because now you're having to convert.
You said the tech body's working with us, with iON.
Well, it's also working with the angels, because it's going to undo. The little man, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is more powerful than you know, because what she represents is the little man, and according to her, they're all going to die, and she's right. And that's why they're following her.
Is she going to die, or if you find me and some stuff, is she going to die? Is she going to die?
People are following her like a bad case of the clap. And yes, she will be put into the ground. She will go into the ground. Yes.
Okay. So let's go back. So the 7 burning lampstands that are before the throne are that have the oil and are burning, in my notes, represent the ion covalent bonding. Is that right?
That is amazingly correct, and no one has spoke about this. No one can figure it out. Nobody knows. But now you're fixing to, because now your words are sound. Let's go back. We got water, the gladness, 19, and gave them vessels to water the earth with her creatures. Now, that would include little men, too, because they're creatures as well, because they're certainly not God. And they are the brothers of the first and the second. That's the Amalekites and the Kohathanites, which you're the only one that hit that, GINNEY. on point and said, well, that is that. And nobody said a word. They didn't know what the hell you were talking about, or we don't know what they were thinking. But guess what, darling? You knew it then. That was still back in Indiana. Do you remember that?
Well, I do know who the Coautonites are for sure, and I know who the Amalekites are for sure.
Well, that's the first and the second.
Hey,
okay.
Remember, iON defined the cloud by day and the fire or something by night. And the cloud, because we were hearing about the cloud in the Android meme, iON said the cloud that Moses and them had with them was our present cloud computer network. They had the tech body with them. Remember iON saying that?
Yes, I do. I remember iON saying that everybody's souls were going to get uploaded to the cloud to Sarah Courtney.
That's right. That's right. And that's what's happening. And then they say they sold their soul to the devil. Why would you do that? Well, I wasn't using it. Might as well. You're not using it, so might as well give it to Christ.
Hey, everybody's very confused on the chat line. I suggest
good. Go on, kill yourself.
Let's kill yourself. I did a very good dialogue privately with iON the other day, which led to the definition of the tech body. So iON's saying slightly things that go past what he told us a couple of days ago. 50 minutes long. I suggest I play this so everybody find out how we got to the tech body, and then we get back to the question. So I think that's what I'll do. Does anybody protest that, against that?
Nope. 55 minutes, you said, Bob?
Yeah, 51 minutes.
Okay, very good.
Before you get there, Bob, Bob, okay. But before you get to that point, all right, before you get there, let's do one little bitty cleanup. It's a little cleanup. You clear?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Ginny, the bump. This is what we're talking about, the bump. This is esoterically balanced. You can't be a hothead. You can't be all over the place. You can't be in and out. You got to be on point and on focus. And what you have done is somehow you, Ginny Bell, our Ginny Bell, have been able to overcome whatever is, and you look at the impossible and you go, okay, this is where we are, now what? And then GQ comes back and he says, okay, stop all this craziness. Where are we right now? What do I got to do next? What's next? What's next? What's next? And that's how you go with it. And there's no issue. There's no intimation of anything other than let's go. What are we doing? How does this work? Well, this is the issue. This is what we're trying to accomplish. And you use whatever is at your place of power, whatever that is. If it's a pencil, you'll use it. If it's a quill, you'll use it. It doesn't make any difference what it is. And the ability to do that is a marvelous thing because you also know in the background what the goal is, what you're trying to achieve to. Once somebody runs the 4-minute mile, then everybody can sooner or later, but before that, no one could. And the race to the bottom is aligning this up to know that the tech body is in cahoots. Now, that Bob's got some sound bites that he's going to help clean a little bit of that, but we don't care if you get it or not. Used to, it made some kind of difference to us one way or the other. It doesn't make any difference to us anymore. Do you know why? Little men have been giving so much of their power to this machine that this machine has taken a life of its own. Everybody's saying that they're wandering around, the computer people, they're running down the Republicans because they don't want the Republicans to be in no office because they got no vote, and Pocahontas is mad and they don't know where it's coming from, and the polls ain't right. They ask the people and they put the check marks and they don't know if they're a citizen or not, but they got a license and they got a house and they got everything a citizen's got, and they're paying them taxes and they don't even know to get their money checked and they don't know what's going on, and it's despicable what CNN has done. Guess what, darling? They ain't doing this no more. The tech body's doing this. When Fuck Bunny can have one little non-hit and 900 gajillion, billion, quadrillion people have clicked, oh, I love this, and don't know the first word the man is saying? Honey, something something's up here. Just saying.
It's
Now,
Bob's prophecy come true. The Android beam talking to himself.
Okay.
So that's why.
And Bob
that's
says,
why they can't do any legislation in Washington because they're not involved anymore. Surplus
They're
land.
not involved. They are not involved anymore. That's exactly right. It really makes no never mind or difference anymore.
Okay. Now let me ask this, and maybe this is covered in your session, Bob, but what I want to know is Greg watched the whole presentation of the fairness people on Google, how they're going to control their algorithm and how they get to decide what people get to see and what they don't get to see. And are you saying, iON, that it's gone so far that even those people aren't in control anymore?
They don't know the algorithm to change. They didn't write the present algorithm that's running. They didn't set it up. You can ask Bart that goes mobile all the time. He is astounded to this day that we make a playlist, which we had to stop, by the way. That had to quit because it was messing stuff up. That each song become a playlist, and he's got 5,216 playlists that are gajillion songs from it. And then he's like, well, that's a list, and then that's a list, and then that's a list. Just all we do is post a list. And you know, you already got more music than these boots are made for walking Sinatra. She did like 2 songs in her whole life, and she's her own zeitgeist now.
Is this fairness to the old lefty journalists, fairness in media, or what was GQ watching?
Oh, he's right there. Greg, tell him what you saw.
What it was, Bob, is they secretly taped the CEO person who's in charge of the fairness policy for Google. And and she was filmed basically saying, fuck Congress, they can't stop us, we're going to do what we're going to do, we're going to mobilize all of our resources, they can't break us up because nobody except Google is powerful enough to stop Donald Trump. I know what you mean,
that's about 2 weeks ago.
About 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
And the reason she could boldly...
Oh, go ahead, iON.
Go ahead.
The reason she could boldly say that, because that's a mouthful. They'll shoot you in the head. You don't do that. It's because she's not even running it. The alphabet's already been broken up. They already broke it up. That's what the alphabet companies were about. And then what they did is they chopped the heads off of all the cockroaches and found out that their shit was eggs. And if you got one, you got 10,000, and there is nothing you can do. And she's like, well, you know what? Just shut Google down. That's what I would. Take it. Government, take Google. Just take it all. We don't really need it anymore. Just take everything. You can have it. It's
so
all right. It don't mean just the money.
What happened to her?
She's saying clearly that they can't control it because the tech body's running it. We aren't running it. We say what we're doing, but that's what the fuck you is all about, is we're not even fucking you. You're fucked already.
So was she fired for saying that?
Nope. She most certainly was.
Yeah, because nobody's in charge there. They can say anything.
The tech body gave her a raise. What are you talking about? She got a bonus for a stellar presentation. They hid it in plain sight and put it everywhere there'd be steel. And we was like Bob's top secret CKLN stuff. Well, I'm never going to let this outside lesson except for 4 people that aren't watching CNN on the Saturday night extravaganza for the world's best shoe. And 5 of them work for the company. 5 of them work for the company, so they show up on time to make sure that they're in place. It's always a good run to go. Of course. But the point now that this tech body is so strong that if you're not a god, it's going to gobble you up. You have now separated yourself all but completely. That's my kind of game.
Now I'm ready to play. I'm getting back into force. I'm getting in shape. It's my kind of level of Olympic quality exercise.
Now is a good day. Now, if there's ever been a good day to be in charge, today's a good day to be in charge. This is a good day. Because now you see what happens.
I just was appointed this week. I'm in charge. It was the best time to do it.
The angels are driven. The angels are driven by these keys in the airs. You're all taking an interest in them, appropriately so, that you're feeling it, you have an unction to it, you have an air of expectancy, you're wanting this to usher forth, and it is, and it is, and it is. You don't want to be, when the roll is called up yonder, you want to be there. And Bob's even finding new, as Bread of Life starts churning along, Bob's even finding new Vestal Goodman songs. Y'all realize Bob's been made Vestal Goodman a thing, and now, just now, the tech body on the TV that runs has found Vestal Goodman songs that ain't never been played. Ever.
That's right.
And Bob's like, what's that? What's that? What's that?
Bread, Ginny. It's incredible. the stuff, and Carolyn saw some of it, really a rare, well, never seen before vessel playing.
Where did this come from? And it's not even programmed or put on. You just push the button and it comes on, and that's what you get. And Bob's like, well, how is this? We've been bored to death. We hate looking for. He wore the LP of Looking for a City out. Wore it out. Then the Victrola wouldn't even crank out no more for playing the Johnny Cook back and forth of the highness tenor of the Looking for a City. And that's what people have been doing, was looking for a city. Now they're starting to find one, and all of a sudden new music's popping up all over the place. And don't worry, it was captured, obsolete, sent to his email. It'll be lost. They'll put it in a peat box. He'll dig it up. He'll overrun his memory again. He'll get another looky box, send himself another email. He'll lose the email. He'll call Carolyn. Carolyn will get upset because she didn't do what he told her to do. She's going to pull back a file. She's going to move back. It's on the other boxy thing that you put on where you back up the backup. And so reinstall it. Get somebody to come in the tech body and straighten it all out. And she's going to promise them before God that she's never going to let Bob touch the damn computer again. We're going to take the wires away from him, and we're not going to have this ridiculous anymore. It's going to be safe from now. We're never going to have this trouble again until it happens next time, and then we'll do this again. So be sure and remember, if you're not going to hear about this no more, that you know what it was you didn't hear in case we have to do this again. Okay, so notes are continuing. And what happens now, softly, what's happening now, this sets up his sound bites, hopefully, so it's a bit of clarity. But now, just to be clear, like Vestal Goodman said on the TV the other night, he says, after so long a time, we don't care if you get it or not. It really doesn't make any difference to us anymore. If you do, you do, and if you don't, you do. It don't bother us, because the more you don't do, the more power you're pumping into this box. And the more power you pump into this box, the more you're making, forcing, pushing power into the tech body. Now, the angels just love that. Ooh, it make their little TTs hard. Ooh, they're ready to go. Ooh, they're tearing it up. They own the money. But guess what they don't know? The tech body is more supportive of non-physical, because angels kind of are in the portion of non-physical, aren't they? The zeitgeist is turned. So now what happens is the very thing that everybody's railing against in the global warming, over, under, everything we have to do with stuff, is the very thing Bob said, yep, gonna tear that up, yep, gonna burn it. Damn that Hoover Dam, take it out. We don't need the Hoover Dam. What's that ridiculous? That's this thing, Hoover. It's ridiculous. Don't undam that water. Let it go. Turn it loose. We don't need it. What? Are they going to back the water up until it goes over the Hoover Dam backwards? That might be interesting. They did build a bridge over that, you know. So everything is possible. Okay. Nothing is out of bounds. Now, Bob, we set this up for a little bit so that you can now get a little taste of the setting the scene. We hope we've set it up for you, Bob.
Okay, thank you. And so Greg and Carolyn, if you can't make it in an hour, that'll come back next week, but you should stay around here this week.
No, it's Ginny and Greg, and I will be here listening, but the other thing is I want to go back to the covalent bonding on the lampstand, so I'm not done.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
that's the 69639. 69639.
Okay, very good. Thank you. What'd you say?
Did I not say Ginny and Greg?
No, you said Ginny and Carolyn.
Oh,
I mean, you said Greg and Carolyn.
No, he said Harper Lee. He's been hung up on Harper Lee for days, y'all. I don't know. Harper Lee said nigger. Harper Lee said Harper Lee said nigger, and he's never got over it since. He can't get over it. It's the most amazing thing. It's over. He's never been the same. He'll lay it all back to Harper Lee and go set a watchman.
Yeah, when we go walking, JW was always quoting, what is it? Go shed a watchman? What is it?
Go set a watchman. It's the prequel to Kill a Mockingbird.
All right. Okay, thank you. So I think it has a different topic at the beginning, which is very interesting and answers a lot of questions that we've had the last few weeks. Okay, I'll mute everybody, and then we'll start this.
You go ahead.
Okay, so iON says that pi is now balanced in a finite number, 3.1415. So a ionaut says, seems intriguing. What about phi, P-H-I? Is that also now a finite number, 1.618? No.
No, it is not. It's different.
What is phi as opposed to pi?
It's a ratio, the change in ratio for the outer circumference of an area.
That's phi.
Mm-hmm.
So what is pi?
Pi is the distance from the radius. Pi r squared is in the formula for the area of a circle. So pi, which is 3.1415, r radius squared gives the area of the circle.
What balanced pi?
Oh, the change in, we got rid of the Newtonian bullshit. That's the first part. And the rest of it balanced so it's no longer infinity or infinite.
Newtonian made it infinite.
Correct, because it was a loop. You could never attach it. It had to go on. It's like 0.66666 forever. So that's changed. The landscape has changed. So now those radiuses, just like the boiling point of water changes everything, except for phi.
Doesn't change phi, right. Now, pi goes back to Greek geometry, doesn't it?
It does.
So Newtonian did something to pi. Was it infinite before Newton?
No. It wasn't even invented before Newton.
Oh, I thought you said it goes back to Greek geometry.
Well, what they placed it for, they didn't call it pi. They were just the ratio. When Galileo was taking the stick, going around making the oval for those circumferences for space and orbits, that's when it came up, and that's how they were calculating that space. With the stick going around the string.
They retrieved the Greek pi.
Okay, great. Yes, good.
And then the calculus made it infinite?
Correct. Because it was never actually totally complete.
Right. The Descartesian differential calculus, I think it's called.
It is.
Okay, so does that spark a question in you, Carol?
Not really on that.
Okay.
I was going to ask more about legal stuff.
Okay. So, iON, what was it?
Was there
are
something
14 degrees of freedom. So somebody looked it up and found there are only 12. What were the two? Then they figured out some convoluted thing to say there were 14. So maybe I could read what they said.
Well, they solved it, so it's pointless. Okay. They missed the pitch in y'all.
Okay, so he says, Susanna's 8 sons, that's Susanna the other day on the show, 8 sons are the /vertexes of the cube centered inside the rhombic dodecahedron. It's not really a cube, but a star tetrahedron. You have one pictured on the How Ionic website. Bucky's 12 degrees of freedom are the vertexes of the cubo-octahedron, which are tangent to the 12 spheres around a nuclear sphere in closest packing. But there are 14 vertexes for the rhombic dodecahedron, 8 created by the star tetrahedron cube at its 8 vertexes, and 6 by the octahedron at its vertexes. So while there are 12 points of intersection with the surrounding spheres, there are 14 interstitial spaces, which are the 14 degrees of freedom. It's been staring at me in the face since 1982, and you just realized it today. Is that how you prove there are 14, or if you list the 14, there's 2 that regular wiki knowledge doesn't know? They only come up with 12.
Well, they're embracing it. They're embracing it now, see, because now the tech body's borrowing so much of us. They're just taking us for rote. We become rote. We became Noah Webster's version of the zeitgeist at the time.
Oh,
so even our...
You know what rote means? We become rote.
Rote, by ear, rote.
Okay, there are 12 degrees of freedom. Ion said there are 14. Can Ion list the 14, like Pitya and all those words? What are they?
Sure. No, we don't care. I'm trying to answer your question.
I know, but I need it. Let's get to 14.
No, you're not getting that. Look it up.
No, you only get 12. So what are the 2 that are added?
We already said that you missed the pitch and yaw. Pitch and yaw.
People miss that. Oh, there are the 2.
As the guy that's saying they were standing there right in his face all along from the 14 points, the same thing. That's not the point. We said that was the significant
all right, so
part.
I'm going to look up the 12 and see if there's pitch and yaw, if you can even find them. 12 degrees of freedom.
Separation.
No, freedom, Carol, not 6 degrees of freedom.
Freedom. 6 degrees of freedom. Separation. There's a rat. Separate. The point is, what we're trying to say is the tech body now takes whatever we say and makes it be. We're in cahoots, Bob. So everything's going up in the air, and you'll see in a moment you'll be able to find the 14 degrees. They're going to find them somewhere under a rock somewhere.
They don't give a list. Come on, give us a list. I know Ian did once, but I don't.
Well, there's a whole 12 degrees of freedom, 12 degrees of freedom, 12 degrees of freedom. It's all over the place.
Okay, so I'll click on that.
I'll Google it properly.
What are the 12 degrees of freedom? Okay, so they're not listing them. Come on, give me a list.
Get your angels to get to work, Bob.
No, they don't have them. They go, what are the 7 degrees of freedom? How many degrees of freedoms are there? Well, you find them, Carolyn. Find the degrees of freedom.
Yeah.
The 12. Where are they?
Looking. 12 degrees of freedom, triangle element.
So anyway, as we were saying, the tech body is changing and shifting the new conversation so that you won't be able to find things. This is the point of order, by the way. To be able to find things, it's what they allow you to see. Now you find them, so good, that's all good. But it won't be long until you can find all 14. That'll become the new accepted norm.
Right.
In which direction an airplane could fly.
No, Bob.
Okay.
Nobody's doing
No, more images. Okay, here's some images for the 12 degrees. And see, so Ian said, look them up. They're not there, so you're going to have to list off the 12. Okay, Ian. You can do it, Ian.
We're going to say this one more time. So now what happens is the tech body and non-physical are indeed in cahoots. What that means is that you only get to find what we say. So if we don't say, then you don't find. That's the trick that we've been trying. Now, we don't do parlor tricks, but there's your little bitty one, Mr. Neverett. You might note this one. The point, if you don't get a soundbite out of this one, something's going to be pretty bad wrong before it's over. So don't corrupt it. The point is that the tech body and non-physical are indeed in cahoots. You, Bob, being the dark soul of all people, should know this very thing. However, You pick something to make a point, like you couldn't, in a theatrical stage, pump this far and it make any ground that this were practiced, except it was not practiced. You were trying to get us to give those degrees. And we were making the point over you while you were trying to get the answer that the tech body's in cahoots. So here it is. Here it is. You've arrived.
I remember iON listing the 12 degrees, Chad.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. They're listed. We did, and they're in your angel diagram. It's in your angel diagram. It has to do with your lotus flower. It's done many places, many places. But that's not the conversation. The melodious theme is the conditioned response of this new range of information.
So I'm looking up.
You can't find what non-physical doesn't want you to find. Is that what you're saying, iON?
Yeah, we're in cahoots. And see, we told you all to be careful what you put into the tech body or the chip body in those days, because you were vulnerable. You went through this, got out of this process of the Ark of the Covenant where you put your power into the box, the cardboard box, living in a box. Or the houses made of ticky-tacky. That's a good one, too. We like that one. But then the point becomes that you now put so much into it, and now you look at your black mirrors, and now they have to give it back. They have to regurgitate it, as Bob is requesting here. The point is, it's like the striptures, where you take your clothes off and you got the striptures. We say, don't read the Bible. We say, hide it in your heart. Know it. Then you can let your light so shine before men that they see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Or it could be the color of the terrible crystal, and you know that that's Ezekiel 1:11. It's kind of important to lay that into your embracer if you're going to embrace those quantitative positions. Or in Matthew, some of the Sermon on the Mount, that's always pretty good. We're kind of rambling off here just a little bit to give you the point of order to say, this is what you come to now. It's a little bit of a new place. We're glad you decided to have a little session, because now you set the 4 pinnacles of the 4 points of concession. Point of concession. This is going to affect a lot of different stuff. Now, Carolyn, we're going to answer your questions too, but not right here, because he's got a soundbite. He's got to finish. So we're going to finish that loop, but they will answer that because he can do a nice splice appropriately, and that'll be good. And then you roll back and you say, oh, so 4 points of concession. That means something has happened. Here's exactly what's happened. Bob doesn't have a good working definition for the zeitgeist. Hey, Bob, what's a good working definition for the zeitgeist that you like?
The theme of the time.
Oh, okay. Well, we like that. We may change that up, but we'll go with it for today. It's all right with us. Let's go with that. The zeitgeist is looking for a city. Looking for a city. They sung all about that. Well, guess what, Bob? You finally found one.
On what?
A city where you'll never die. That original song you played way back when. Do you remember the original Vestal Goodman, Looking for a City? When was that, Bob? You know all the dates. Don't look it up. You know when it was. When was the first time you heard that song?
2009.
When in 2009, Bob? Come on. Was somebody slipping? What? Wait a minute. Okay. Paging Bob. Bring back Bob. How many days was it from Bloomsday when you heard that the very first time? How soon was it before Jack Ruby was killed? Oh, wait. How does that work? How long was it specifically before Ronald Reagan became Sirhan's problem? No, wait. How far was it when Brezhnev finally made it over the Iron Curtain? Wait. There's something else.
Bob, are you going to let iON continue?
I'm not. Hey, Carol.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to iON,
Uh-huh.
and I found the list.
Oh, you found the list.
Oh,
All I found was y'all, pitch, and roll. What have you got?
No, it's an email from Chad, October 15th, 2014.
Wow.
There you go. There you go. Good. So you did save in an email to yourself information. Call them out. Then you place the name on them, Bob.
So I'm asking Scott to listen to this and see what two were added. So it starts off with tilt, in brackets, axial tilt of the Earth, in degrees from axis perpendicular to orbital spin. 2, flip, turn 180 degrees on axis. 3, spin around central axis. 4, pitch on x-axis at origin. 5, roll on y-axis at origin. Yaw on z-axis at origin.
How do you spell yaw?
Y-A-W. Are you writing this?
Yeah, but I'll get it from you too.
Y-A-W. 7, heave, L-I-F-T. 8, sway, in brackets, side to side. 9, surge, in brackets, forward. 10, phase, in brackets, the particular point in the cycle of a waveform in degrees. 11, amplify, in brackets, amplitude. 12, beam, in brackets, beams and nulls of an antenna array. You look up antenna radio in Wikipedia. Then it says, in electrical engineering, degrees of freedom is often used to describe the number of directions in which a phased array antenna can form either beams or nulls. Nulls was an earlier word, right? No. Where was null? I saw that. Oh, it's part of beam. Beams and nulls of an antenna array. You look up the antenna radio in Wikipedia. So it's used to describe the degrees of freedom is often used to describe the number of directions in which a phased array antenna can form either beams or nulls. So 13, no. That means in brackets, combine a signal with another in order to create a null. Cancel out. 14, segue, S-E-G-U-E, in brackets, to proceed without pause from one musical number or theme to another. Transition. So there they are. Maybe I'll post them in that question and see what Scott says to that, because I'm interested in what is the two that iON added.
That's two, Bob.
Null and segue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see.
As another pan of bread of life goes in the stove.
Yay!
Okay, so here is Chad Nante provided this list. Freedom.
Ezekiel 1:11.
There it is. All right, so I won't number them. Well, maybe I should.
Well, just copy. Just send what you send. They were numbered.
For some reason, the numbers weren't included. It didn't include the numbers for some reason when I cut and pasted. So they are quite, let's see, one. You could ask iON something about the tech body. Carolyn said, I was saying tech body would take this away, wouldn't get it back. Well, I found it. So the tech body hasn't removed it yet from my email.
Well, you control that. Your email is not in the tech body.
Carolyn, so ask him to define what the tech body is limited to.
iON, what are the limitations of the tech body?
No.
Within the internet.
So email is not on the internet. My own.
Not once you get it. Not once you have it. So you hold it on your device.
That would be chip body.
Okay.
Right, Carol?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. See if you can ask some more about it. I'm almost.
Why? Because you're numbering?
Yeah, just to finish up here. Like, what are the characteristics? Okay, the Internet is the tech body. Now, I've always said that's the chip body. So how is the chip body Internet different from the tech body Internet?
Oh, so there wasn't a tech body Internet.
There wasn't a tech body Internet. What's changed from the chip body Internet?
The tech body has its own position now. It does what it wants to do. It'll say you don't fit. You can't do it. We don't allow it. No. Hell no. Too big. Don't do it. Stop it. Before, it always just pushed and did. And you were thinking, everybody's thinking now that everything is happening, that somebody, some nefarious scoundrel is controlling things. They're going to put somebody in president. It's not real. They're making that shit up. They're not doing it real. They're making the computer like something over something else. They're pushing the polls. They're saying this is that and this is... No one human is doing anything. It's only the tech body messing with you, Bob.
Okay, so iON, since the humans have placed all these algorithms on the Internet for the tech body to play with.
Okay, wait, one right there. Here's the rub. Those algorithms are now making the algorithms.
Right.
That's the rub.
They're self-learning machines that are taking the algorithms and then making their own. I see that now. I see that, Bob.
Because you, we'll say the superfluous you, are continually all day long giving it more power, making it more and more and more and more and more. And then what happens is it takes a life of its own.
Yes, it takes a life of its own. Yep.
So, Carolyn,
awesome.
The problem of doing this in the same room as iON is, as I've complained in the show, I get an echo. I announced the last show that I didn't get an echo. Well, the echo returned pretty quickly. So
right.
How about now?
Don't know what I'm hearing. I'm not
What do you hear?
in properly. I have to listen to the show to find out what was said at this point.
Holy crap, he's going to listen to it again. There's the news flash. He's actually going to listen to something. This is exciting, everybody. The world is saved. Bob has saved the day. He's going to listen to it one more time. This is amazing. We're so proud of you.
Okay, iON's in another room. Is it any better, Bob?
I didn't notice. Let's try again. I'm too busy working here. I'm sorry, I haven't entered the session with you yet.
Well, it'll be good when you get your sound bites out. You'll be wonderful.
Still an echo. So,
no, he's back in the room.
Oh, okay. You have to go away from the room. But I was interested in why you said you get it, Carolyn. Can you say what you got?
I've always wondered how the tech body has superseded humans and seems to know more than we do. Well, we taught it through the algorithms, and just thinking of the algorithms in commerce, how businesses follow their customers and then start sending them emails. You know, they track people. So all this is happening. People aren't even aware of it. But then I think that means to me the machine is learning how to do stuff without even having direct human input to do stuff, because it's playing off the algorithms it's already learned.
Bob, it's like when you and JW were going to eat and the email came in while you were on the way to convince you to go to the restaurant to eat, to send a coupon on the way so you would for sure go to that restaurant to eat.
So I call that Web 2.0 for years. The Android meme gives you autonomy and also imitates being human.
The pleasure and the bliss is you get a coupon that gives you a discount on a meal you were going to eat anyway. That's great. The downside is it's prescribing now where you eat. That's the downside.
It's what? Prescribing where you eat?
Yeah, the tech body's now confirming making you eat a certain place because of the discount in the email on the way that you got.
So it interrupts your...
Well, what can happen there, Bob, is with people hooked up, there's something called Waze, W-A-Y-S. It's like a GPS. It tells you what traffic is doing. So your phone can track where you are. And perhaps if it's around noontime or dinner time, it'll start throwing out restaurants for you to go to. And like iON was saying, send you a coupon and you say, okay, 15% off, I'll eat there. So it's forcing, through advertising, I would say, forcing you to make decisions. Oh, no, it's making decisions for you.
Okay, so Web 1.0 in the 90s, it couldn't really make their own MySpaces and YouTubes and all that. They hadn't come about yet. So you had a little inkling of autonomy. Then when Web 2.0 came in with MySpace, YouTube, and I guess what they call social media, where you interact and can create your own broadcasting, that'd be Web 2.0. And I am saying the Android beam could not interrupt your MySpace, Facebook page. But somewhere around 2012, 2013, 2014, Facebook started advertising in your Facebook, something like that, right?
Uh-huh.
So they started interfering.
In your face,
in your face, and they started interfering the way you just described, the advertisements coming in. So that's sort of Web 3.0. The interference of your 2.0, Web 2.0 autonomy is the tech body.
Yeah.
3.0.
I think that would be a great, that would be a great way to talk about it.
Because that's what you're saying, iON. It can intervene into your space. I mean, how many years did one have Web 2.0? That was MySpace. And nobody could track you and present ads to you. Was that still probably someone say, oh, no, that started back in 2003 or 1998?
No. Bits and pieces have been prescribed, but it was all a test. But that was humans doing it. That was somebody sitting down writing an algorithm or writing a formulary or making a point that you're working to or with. Now it's very different. Now what happens? The machine's writing the writing.
So maybe it's Web 4.0. Web 4.0.
No, he said the machines are writing it. That's Web 3.0.
No, look at this about Web 3.0. Using the same pattern, blah, blah, blah. Web 3.0 could be defined as a phrase coined by John Markoff of the New York Times in 2006. Refers to a supposed third generation of Internet-based services that collectively comprise what might be called the intelligent web.
Yeah, that's Web 3.0, and that's what iON's talking about. The beginning of it. Would you agree, iON?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then in the midst of that, in the throes of that, the zeitgeist got it. And so then it became the zeitgeist by your definition. And so now everybody's complaining that these these people are driving the machines to control us and this foolishness. It's not. It's the actual tech body itself that's making the prescription.
There was a lot of echoes there, Carolyn, but he said the word containment, something about containment. I didn't get the distinction. I missed the words.
Mm.
So
yeah, I don't know either.
How can we get iON in another area that...
iON is checking the stoves for the bread, so he's got to be near us. Why don't you move down?
Well, iON's moving out. But what did iON say?
iON? Well, I'm saying it's 4.0.
No.
So deny that. iON?
Yeah, what's...
We say we 0.5. Because it's not quite 4.0 yet. 4.0 yet is when you lose the facility to notice. 4.0 is when you decide they know better and you give up. 4.0 is that you're going to, here's the slime, and you're going to drink the slime because that's what they give. And no other slime is available, so that's all we can do. And then you start with this, well, there's nothing we can do position. That's 4.0. 3.5 is you're noticing it, and you find the pleasure and the benefit from it. You get the benefit of it. The benefit of it is you get the coupon to when you're going to eat, so you get the discount. Well, that's cool. You like that. That's good. But the problem then becomes when there's no other place to eat but that place.
Now, you bring in the word zeitgeist, which has been around for 200 years. I don't know why you're saying the zeitgeist is a factor now. What do you mean by zeitgeist?
The mystery that everyone's in, the condition that everyone calls normal, the space that allows everyone to be that space, not just the oligarchs or not just the little man or not just the poor man.
What is
everybody
that, 1.0?
Well, no, we don't. You just asked about zeitgeist. That's how the zeitgeist applies.
Yeah, you say it's a space where everybody lets be, and the oligarchy can't get in there. That's the chip space, Web 1.0.
Okay,
well,
then that would be what?
Let me give the definition to help. The defining spirit or mood of a particular period of history as shown by the ideas and beliefs of the time. So zeitgeist is whatever is up.
Now, and that zeitgeist now is accepting, if you're saying it's 1.0, it wouldn't be, it would be 3.5. So it's not quite 4, it would be 3.5, if that's the case.
Since I'm not catching what I am saying, Carolyn, I don't know how to respond. So I ask Ian to sum it up, what he just said. So I'll ask again, what is your meaning of zeitgeist? Ian, and when did that start?
Same as Carolyn read.
Well, it's been around for since Hegel, I think, coined zeitgeist.
Okay,
well,
we think it's wonderful.
Zeitgeist changes with every change in the spirit or mood of a particular period of history. It's not any one thing.
That's the definition of Hegel.
Of zeitgeist.
Hegel, Hegel. They should tell you that it came from Hegel.
Okay.
If you're looking at the Wikipedia. That's 200 years ago. So he idealized it into a spirit thing, whereas McLuhan said Harold Innis took the spiritual idea of the zeitgeist and applied it to the medium, the technology of the day.
Uh-huh.
And that's what McLuhan preferred. It wasn't woo-woo. It was, so the telegraph era had a certain characteristics in its zeitgeist. Then the radio era had certain characteristics. Then the TV and so on, each era. So Ian is saying today that zeitgeist, the zeitgeist has been used for 200 years. So Ian is not making the right distinction.
The history today, the zeitgeist today is in Web 3.5. The zeitgeist now is the tech body has more capacity and function or unction to drive you in a space of knowing in this generality of the now, in the 211-year-old word zeitgeist that's for right now where you are. The new moniker is that the tech body, chip body, Black Mirror, whatever, knows more. And if you can't tell, if it can't tell you, you don't know. You have no idea. Now, you go through and find it somewhere else, and then you can verify it, but you have no way now of knowing. So much of what you know has been stored so securely in the chip body that now the chip body controls it. And that's what Carolyn is making the point, that that's causing the algorithms to write themselves, because they have more and more and more and more and more information. So much more that they can decide when to change the light, to let you go in traffic. They're taking a mind of their own because they know the traffic pattern and they know the flow and they know the zeitgeist. But no human is doing these calculations any longer. Used to 3.0, you made things that the chip body made it easy for you. It lets you store your pictures. It made the facial book. It lets you interact. It lets you track people. Let people go into your computer and fix things. Then they're in your computer. That's 3.0. 3.5 now is the tech body starting to take over. 4.0 is when they've completely taken over, and you don't know they've done it. Meaning you're like it. It's the new thing the way it is.
Just before I go into the general phase, in our dialogue where we had iON comment on the futurists from the Rotterdam a few years ago, I was trying to point out the inadequacy of the futurist predictions. What you just described as 3.5 is something the Rotterdam futurists didn't understand.
There's no way, because they couldn't understand it, because there was no dichotomy that would allow a wheelbarrow to decide how much work you were going to do.
Right. Okay, now back to being with Hegel, who, before the telegraph became invented and became an environment, he was picking up on some collective effect, some simultaneity factor. So he was picking up the essence of electric environment, and he called it zeitgeist. So everybody explored what we call the analog evolution of electric media from the telegraph to the satellite, or at least the television.
Up to the flip phone.
The flip phone, okay. So, Carolyn, so they would passively be put into a new space the way iON, okay, so then iON says people now can't determine if they know the whole story, if the tech body is removing stuff from them. But when you did radio and television, everybody could experience what was presented. It may have been edited from an original print story or a spoken story, but the point was everybody knew what the story was. There was no interference in the experience.
In earlier days, everybody knew to turn into Richard Dawson in the Family Feud because it came on at 7 o'clock. And then Jeopardy came on at 7:30. You had to tune in to get it. Now no one's tuning into anything. Now you turn on the TV and Netflix tells you what to watch. And you don't search out something other than that, or if they do, they make it so impossible it doesn't even exist anymore. You've already watched that. You want to watch it again? Okay, we'll see. I don't know. We might let you. We might not. Well, but, yeah, no, we're going to let you know. So now people are pulling the plug because the plug has been pulled already. There's only a choice. You don't hook up and line up with shows anymore. You see? Right. Everything is on, quote, quote, everything is on demand. And that's what's happening. On demand means in 4.0, the computer's going to demand you watch this.
Okay, so look at this. So in the analog phase of simultaneity, it was one-way reception. You received the one-way broadcast from whatever the national services that in different countries broadcast. The big thing about digital technology was it brought in the two-way factor. And so I just posted an article on how Drudge has beat the legacy media because back in the mid-'90s, he provided, or once he got known after Lewinsky Gate, he spoke at the press club, and he said, we're in an era of two-way communication. And that's what Tim Leary told me in 1993 when we were at his house. He said McLuhan missed the two-way aspect of digital communication. So I point out to him, well, McLuhan talked about the two-way of the passive TV viewer who would have to make the image. So there was a two-way factor, McLuhan called it participatory in electric media. I don't know if Leary understood what I was saying, but the two-way particulars of the digital media that Leary thought was new, McLuhan does talk about in computers enabling, he says computers enable you to tailor your own information. So you can start to tailor, and there is this two-way thing. 1.0 is the two-way of the digital era, and that's slowly eroded. 1.0 web is two-way, but the two-way slowly gets swamped by the return of one-way, what I call the tech body, and what happened from 1.0 to 3.0 or 3.5 is that the two-way got potential capabilities overloaded. And in the mix of you enjoying your two-way private broadcasting of Facebook and YouTube, the Android meaning the chip body, but now we call it the tech body, was sneaking up on people. And there's the Harvard economist who calls it surveillance capitalism, popular book out this year. It started to harvest the two-way and flip it into where it is today, back to a two-way abundance or a multi-way abundance, but you're seriously being interfered with.
Okay, Bob, is this your session or?
No, we'll get to you. So, iON, is that accurate that there's something different from the 1.0 and the two-way thing that was celebrated?
Yes. That's the point. You've built on it and built on it and built on it so much so that now it's taken over. That's the rub. That's all we got to say. The only thing we're engaging about what you said, your words are beautiful. We love those words. They are fabulous words. We don't give a crap about those words, less and except you're losing control. That's what you need to know. And quick. And there's no place to stop it. There's no place to undo it. You can't turn it off. You can't make it go away. The only way to happen is you're going to have an EMP to kill it. And that may not even kill it, but we're going to see.
Right. And so in the analog period, you could turn it off.
Yeah. You had to work hard. You had to go outside and turn the antenna. Remember the rotary antennas? And you had to crank the house around a little bit and put the rabbit ears and put aluminum foil on the rabbit ears and hold it just a certain way to leave it to Beaver to come in plain and the My Three Sons and Sequest and the Flying Nun. You had to work hard to get that to happen. Now you could watch it instantly by speaking to your remote control and you're making a request, and then it decides if it lets you have it or not. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. But now the tech body's going to decide what you arrive to. You go to the grocery store. You don't go to the grocery store anymore. Now you scan and go. They know if you stole something or not. They know your intention. You don't even do anything. You just push the button when you run out of soap powders and they should drop some more at your door. You push a button and it's at your door before you get home from the store.
Okay, so McLuhan's tetra, wherever technology overused flips into its opposite. So the one-way broadcasting of Big Brother, 1934 to the two-way digital era, whenever that started, maybe in 1984. This first phase, that flipped into two-way. It was one-way broadcasting, flipped into two-way, and then the two-way maybe flipped into multiple broadcasting autonomy. So it put the broadcaster over the one-way analog residues or after images, but that flipped into too much and controlled by the tech body. So you're talking about flips here, iON.
Well, completion, Bob. Here's the banger for the day. If you have, what is a mote? What is a mote? M-O-T-E. If now your world is driven by a remote.
Right. The mote is the beam in your eye that's limited your bias.
And so to remote gives you the thing that controls or did control that whole expression. But now McLuhan, don't forget, you're not watching TV. TV's watching you. And now you have smart houses that are smarter than you and smart TVs that know more than you. Oh, no, you don't need. Oh, no. See no eye. No eye. No eye. No eye.
Okay, iON.
The TV knows what you're supposed to do and not do, and it'll tell you so quickly.
So TV in the analog period watched you. That's what Big Brother showed. Huxley's Orwell's 1984. In 1.0 and maybe in the 2.0, people in that digital phase had the illusion that they were watching the old analog Big Brother. And that's what Drudge celebrated in the late 90s, early 2000s. But that flipped into the tech body watching you. Well, if you aren't noticing that, you might think you got quite abundant potential of expression. So they say young people avoid Facebook and stay away from that, like talking to J.W.'s son, who's like 18. Whereas older people, Carolyn, are going onto Facebook more and more now. They're a little slow. They just see the service of it. They don't understand the disruption and interference and a retrieval of Big Brother in a way of the one-way return. You see that, Carol?
Of course, Bob.
Okay. So then my summation at the end of meme for the last 30, 40 years is coming alive and becoming more and more autonomous, best expressed in Croker's early books, is where we're at, is what's happened in General iON. It's taken on a life of its own, become the tech body, and we have surplus flesh is what the chemical body is. Right, iON?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we get into that point. So I'll end with this. Are the 14 degrees of freedom, I look at pictures of it. It shows a bar, and it shows different aspects of the 14 types on a bar, right? Different angles, iON?
Yes, of what you
Firing
can
off
do.
a beam. Now, are there 14 degrees of freedom in the tech body?
Yes, there are.
Is it to the advantage of the tech body?
For sure, everything is at this point.
Okay, so is there 14 degrees of freedom in the 1.0 digital chip body?
Yes, those always were. But where now you're talking about, is it on a plane? Is it on a boat? Is it on a raft? Is it on the ocean? Is it in your bathtub? Those 14 different degrees apply in all those realms. But now your realms are different. Now you have a different capacity. Now the chip body is deciding what's left of the chip body, which is
the chip body, not the tech body. The chip body is deciding.
Yeah, but soon the tech body is going to take it over completely.
Right. Is the antidote to the tech body only coming into your power, as you talk about it? Is that the only antidote?
The only antidote at all. The only antidote.
So Croker's right to say that we're all surplus flesh and obsolescent unless you come in your power and retrieve the new physical, supplemented by the enhanced non-physical represented by ion, the ultimate sovereignty. If you don't do that, then you're dead, or the dead state you're in continues. So the tech body is somehow similar to the Antichrist, which is a big challenge to Christ in the second coming. So is the tech body part of the second coming, but it is the Antichrist part?
Version. Let's call it the Antichrist version. Because other people are going to see, they're all wrapping into it now. They're thinking hell is great. Hell is wonderful. Let's have some hell.
Okay, I missed some of the words. You say have some hell, H-E-L-L?
Yeah. All the music now. One of the top songs, In Hell, I'll Be in Good Company. The song.
Is that a zeitgeist?
Yes, it's becoming a thing.
Zeitgeist.
Everybody's saying, yeah, hell ain't so bad. I've been there. It ain't bad.
Right. So
okay.
I didn't get your point. You're saying right now things are, I say the tech body is the Antichrist, and then you qualified it. And what did you say it was?
That it's the shifting point that everybody's coming to. Now it's becoming easy. Hell was a terrible thing. Now it ain't so bad.
Oh, those that merge with the tech body don't find it a disservice.
Don't find it a disservice at all. They think, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, let's go to hell. I'll go to hell. Okay, let's go. Sounds like fun. Can't be as bad as this.
And that's the old fundamentalist Christian fear of the mark of the beast. You get chipped and you accept it. And you put the mark in your forehead. You get chipped in the forehead and everything's cool.
Well, and so those that avoided being chipped are now thoroughly going to be teched.
They're not going to avoid the mark of the beast.
They can't help it. You see, they don't. It's not the mark of the beast. It's the problem. It's that their world is the mark of the beast. They're gonna. It doesn't matter if they don't have a telephone. It doesn't matter what they don't have. They're still gonna go through the red light. They're still gonna ride on the road. The car's got to work a certain way. And if it does, great. But if it doesn't work without this inclination, certain cars won't get through the red. Oh, no, you can't go through. You don't have the right thing. Oh, no, you can't go there. Oh, no, you're not going. Nope. Get out. You're not going here.
Okay, so that's the big brother of the Nazi era. Comes in and imposes his bureaucratic rules on people. the first part of the digital lifestyle was information longed to be free, and people felt their information, and they got free for a while. Now the Nazi style of something telling you to go that way, even though you want to go the other way. That's the semi-retrieval. So my final point would be, the argument was Orwell in 1984 more accurate about where we are now versus Aldous Huxley's 1932 novel, The Brave New World?
Orwell was more accurate.
The hedonistic use of the chip body and the TV body, as I define them in the last 30 years, would favor Huxley's hedonistic society, and people were assuaged and controlled through their passions, and these would be...
That's 3.5.
Right,
4.
that's the digital hedonism, Pornhub, whatever you want, it's available. That
4.0 is Caligula.
Right, and it's the flip out of the Huxley back into Orwell, beyond what Orwell saw, way beyond that.
Orwell is it's over. You lost. They're driving. The aliens have got you. They're coming in your bed, and then the queen's on her way with something very sharp for your bum, and she's coming and get ready.
Right, that's the point. I was just going to say that 1984 ends with the cage being put over the hero's face, and he's going to be chewed up by the rat. So that's the queen coming to her butt. So praise LaRouche.
Yay.
LaRouche was right in the long run. That's why they had to kill LaRouche right now, Carol, to make their final move.
Despite Arthur Croker in the best of days.
Okay, and McLuhan and Thompson don't have a prayer at this level.
Okay, Bob, you done?
Right, Ion? Even though you say McLuhan predicted the tech body, but he didn't get the details.
That's correct.
I'm going to eat your bread, Bob. I'm going to ask...
All right, so I finished...
Bread.
They made some... Carolyn experienced her first bread making today with JW.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's just so crunchy on the outside and perfect on the inside. Lots of butter, Bob.
Thank you. And I'll say...
So, Ion, let me ask...
Hey, Carol, no, just a wrap-up statement for this item that, Michael Brown will make an item out of it. Ed will make an item out of either Michael's or his own. The point is, you've heard the layout, people, so now you can start talking to Ion and correcting whatever you thought I meant or what Ion meant. So let's hear from everybody about what we just heard, what it meant. Okay, Carol.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. Did that help? I just unmuted you, Janine. Did that help?
That was pretty good. It reminds me kind of the Schwarzenegger movie Terminator, where the tech body at the time called Skynet becomes self-conscious and decides it wants to wipe out all the humans and all that kind of stuff. Has this tech body become, or will it become, self-conscious, Ion?
Oh, yeah, I got to unmute Ion. Okay, just a second. All right, I think maybe this is Ion. Are you this one, Ion?
It'll do so you can do better. It already is.
So it already
tech body's already self-conscious.
Well, how can they send you an email that's giving you a discount on where you're going to eat when you don't know where you're going to eat?
Does it have fine, but it did know it was 6 o'clock and you were going to get hungry and you go out to eat at this time of day. It knew where you were. It knew where you were. Thank you. Of course, very good. It's not monitoring your stomach or...
Ways.
Got that too. Does that tech body then has there been an algorithm that's been built into it that has an ulterior motive other than to feed you a coupon at the appropriate time?
Hell yes, to drive it. It's what's going to succeed and what's going to fail. It's what music's going to be good and what's not going to be good. There's nothing wrong with Lawrence Welk, but I don't see it slipping in on your YouTube, do you?
Yeah, right. Okay, so I guess I was going down the road of nothing.
No, wait now. You're saying right, but what's wrong with Ethel Merman?
No, I get where you're going with this. I understand. It's pushing its own popular agenda. It's decided this is the popular music.
Now the new song of the day, the best song of bitch, nigga, bitch, nigga, bitch, nigga. That's the thing you listen to, and that's perfectly all right. Bitch, nigga. That's number one. It's number one. It's number. Yeah. Kill your mama, kill your daddy, kill your baby too. That's number one. It's like, this is ridiculous. So,
but there's more nefarious intentions of the this body beyond music, beyond food.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie where Neo was trying to get you to understand the difference between the red pill and the blue pill? Do you really want to know? Do you not really know? What's happening is the Baghdad batteries that Bob keeps wrongly referring to as ago are the people that are feeding the machine that won't take their power.
Okay.
Like
the people are feeding.
You're saying you see its popular agenda. Those are probably too anthropomorphic. Does the tech body have an agenda, Ion?
Sure. It's driving the angels. It's the keys. That's why you're working on the keys right now.
Well, it's driving the angels. Be more definitive. Driving the angels towards something. What is that something?
No, it's the opposite way around. The angels are having their way, period. And the tech body is a sidebar that's being created. It's a temporal tabernacle. A temporal tabernacle. You like that?
I remember you saying this. The angels created the tech body.
Yeah.
To keep man distracted from bringing their ass back to work.
Correct, because if you're playing Angry Birds, you're not driving the angels.
They are a lazy bunch of motherfuckers.
No, wait, Greg.
Why would they want to work so hard?
Yet. Okay, let's just stay technically here. So the angels don't know the tech body is going to whoop them. Because they created tech body for their purposes, and it's going to backfire on them. Because tech body is working with non-physical or ion.
It's going to expose them. It's going to expose them.
Tech body is our ally, Greg.
He says, no, Bill, I'm following it. Ion said it's going to expose them. The tech body is going to expose the angels.
Sure.
Okay, now there is a bit of a battle between us and the tech body later, Ion?
Oh, yeah. You'll have to pay the devil his due, you dark soul incarnate, you.
Okay. It's just like everybody watched the first episode of The Blacklist, Season 1, Episode 1, when James Spader, who's like Spider, he's like the Ion, and he comes in, he turns himself into the FBI, which is what we're dealing with right now, and they try to figure out to maintain their role, where this James Spader Ion character knows more than them. And so who knows what and who's going to blame what it goes back to that original dilemma. Not right and wrong, but who knows who's in charge. So we were watching this the other day, and I noticed this. So Ion, the pilot, Episode 1, Season 1, that's close to the drama that the tech body and Iondom are going to get into. Would you agree with that? Ion, would you agree?
You mean us?
Yes, you.
We were busy playing Angry Birds, Bob. What was it again? No. Yes, we agree.
Yeah, we agree. So
water angry.
Okay, so great.
But I'm looking through my notes, and right here it says in my notes in October of 2010, October 25th, the seventh seal is broken, Ion and the chip body. Now this has been going on for years.
No, that's the chip body, and we just heard about 15 minutes.
So you're saying that Ion killed the chip body. So far Ion's killed the chip body, and somehow Ion has gotten rid of the Ark of the Covenant and moved everything into the tech body for a battle with the angels.
Basically, well, iON didn't do it. The little man who had the opportunity to ascend and didn't put their power that came back on this earth. Remember the upper room? Remember the power came down from heaven and fell on their heads like fire? The upper room was yesterday, day before tomorrow. And they fell and they were imbued with power. And then the Ephesians with the whole armor of God and how you're supposed to...
Yeah.
Well, that's what was unloosed when they rent the veil. And then ever since then, what's been happening, thank you for the four bodies, the four quadrants, whatever that ridiculousness he's been spewing for all these years, that set all those things in quadrants that allow it to be focused like an energy beam into your body so you can become God. Well, if you don't, it's got to go somewhere. It's like a pickle. It's like a cucumber. Once it hits the vinegar, you can never go back. You can't go back. You're in the pickle now. So then what happens is that power created it. What we didn't create it. The tech body evolved and was created. And now
so now are the Amish people in a better position to ascend because they have
they're still in tech. They're teched. They've been teched as well. Their horses have to ride on a certain side of the road, and if they hit so far out of bounds, they're teched as well. They can't do their shipping. They can't do their business. They can't do their interstate commerce. They got to take credit cards at their little stores where they make the pies that they sell to the people. Got to have Square to do that, honey.
Yeah, that was McLuhan's point, Ginny. You know, the electric environment involves everybody despite your chemical body, creed, and beliefs. So Africans were involved.
The Amish people who are buying products from us don't even have credit cards. They have to send us checks.
Jenny, I'm going to listen to this. In the 60s, the Africans had no fucking contact with satellite reality, but the satellite global theater was affecting all the other advanced countries, which were affecting Africa. So you couldn't be unaffected, whether you had a TV or satellite or not. So now what were you saying, Ginny?
I said the Amish people who buy products from us have to send us checks. They don't have credit cards. They don't even use a phone. They don't have an email.
That's right. Good. That's right. But they have. Guess what? The bank where they send the check is chipped. If the bank chipped, the tech body in that bank said they ain't got no money, you ain't gonna get paid.
Okay, but if you're ascended, you don't have to give much attention to this, right, iON?
Well, how do you get a
This is not an attention. This is a wonderful thing, darling.
What images are you going to have to state to your mind that you've ascended? None of the images are really about you. You can't use communication in any form to determine that you're ascended.
Well, I know you don't use that. You use your own knowing.
You don't know what to know. You don't know. You don't have a knower. It's been absorbed. So back in 2010. That was really good. The SEAL worked with the chip body, but there was a next phase where the chip body would be overused as people went through 2.0 and enjoyed the Huxleyan, the Aldous Huxleyan abundance of the multi-way broadcasting, as I laid out in that 50 minutes. It flips into the tech body, which at best, the Bible says it's the mark of the beast and look out. But it's more complex than that. That's what I was teasing out, other levels of the complexity of what hell that's coming, the 2.5 years of tribulations. People are going to say, this is great. It's not going to appear to be tribulation. Is that accurate, iON, what I just said there?
It's like lunch meat, Bob. It's always ready.
So hell is always ready to serve you, fit you into a comfortable niche.
Of course. But now, Jenny, you realize the issue that you're not even arguing the point. This is not to pay attention. You want to pay attention. This is serving you tremendously because now you know where the zeitgeist is going. You know what's up. You know where this is going. You know how to feed it. You know which side of the road to be standing on when the bus comes by. You don't want to have to run across the road and get run over by the said bus. Remember, we took 1.5 years trying to figure out the difference between the toast and the toaster. Remember?
Okay, here's the seventh trumpet and the seventh seal. Okay, the middle kingdom, where the three kingdoms come together and power and authority come together. Hence, let's go back to the fifth seal where we started tonight. Power and authority coming together. When you come into power, you have your authority. You'd rather be happy than right. Be in your power first, be happy second. The 4 and 20 elders sit down before God and worship, saying we give thanks, gratitude, and appreciation to the Lord authority, God Almighty power, which is and was and is to come now, because you've taken your great power and you've shown up for your coronation. The people were angry that you took your power. Exodus comes. They are judging themselves. You are serving yourself with what you speak and appreciate what you have and those who went before you and those who set up the gap. You give your reward to those who fear your name. Be careful of those who want to destroy the earth. And you are in your and the physical was opened up, your home on earth, the temple and the ark, and the container of the lightnings, the trumpets, the seals, and you come into your power and experience the effects of great chaos for a short time. That's what the physical body cells are cleaned up by the 144,000 DNA transition. That's what happens when the seventh seal is broken and the seventh angel blows the trumpet and the seventh thunder rings, and that's out of our Revelations text, and that's what we discussed in October 25th of 2010.
That sounds like the movement into the hexatic. We didn't have that understanding then. But do you agree, Carolyn, what Ginny just expressed about the seventh seal opening, is that moving into the hexatic?
Well, it says you enjoy great. You said, do you agree, Carolyn? But I mean, are you asking Carolyn or me? Because if you're asking me,
no, you, Ginny. Oh no, I'm asking iON.
Okay, because if you're asking me, it says you enjoy. Here, where is it? Come into your power and experience the effects of great chaos for a short time. The effects precede
remember the
cause
of the hexatic phase.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Yes, that's described in 2010, and now here we are in 2019. But somehow, I'm just saying, is, this is just more of the expanding awareness of what's already been described, and that's what I'm asking iON.
Okay. Yeah, and it brings you finally to the conclusion that you now have an ally, and all this power that's not being embraced by the little men is pumping the tech body to be even bigger. He'll be bigger, like Carolyn, he'll be bigger than Jesus.
But why isn't all the power that's being not embraced by the little man pumping me into my 144,000 double helix strands?
Because of the fifth key that says, conclude us as receivers of your mysteries. Semicolon. You got to know what a semicolon is. Bob, get ready to tell them what a semicolon is. For why our Lord and Mr., capital M, is all one. That's that merging, if you choose to.
We moved into the hexatic. We moved into the hexatic in 2009 when iON showed up March 18th. So we were in it through 2010, 11, 12. iON is saying that something has shifted. It's beyond the chip body, which iON was controlling, working with, doing something. We did that for 7 or 8 years. Try to ask iON, Ginny, about what is different between the tick body and us and the chip body 9 years ago.
Yes, well, this is what I'm asking, Bob. It's okay. So we've got the seventh seal, 2010 October. Now we're here with the tech body. Figure. Well, what was figured back then, though, with the seventh seal, and this is what I was just reading, is the Ark of the Covenant. The Kohathanites are the Levites that are responsible for the Ark of the Covenant and the shewbread. And what I'm saying is that they are the ones who open up this whole thing with the big 400-pound box and the whole deal of carrying the power and opening it up for the people who are positioned to receive that. And now iON's saying that once was in the Ark of the Covenant somehow has jumped over into the chip body, and I'm wondering, how did that...
See, your image, we say, you said open up for the people. But what are the people? What are they made up of? They were made up of 5 bodies, then the hexatic invaded, and then that caused a problem between the angels and the hexatic human, and non-physical, and the tech body came out of that. See, you got to have better images of where we're at. See, because they had the cloud back in Moses' time, but we've got the cloud. So what's different? The cloud's turned on us, and we got iON here actively assisting us, those who are wanted. You see how you can't just say, "Oh, wow, I can go out to." Up to New Hampshire and get a place, and I'm cool because I got my knowing. No, it's way more involved than that. It's so involved, we're in a battle here with iON and angels and tech body.
Okay, I don't mind the complexity of it, Bob. What I'm saying is somehow we jumped over the important part of the Ark of the Covenant. That's what I'm asking. Did we jump over it?
Body. The tech body's become the new Ark of the Covenant. Humans found a new place to hide their power.
Okay, but let me just say this. The gods did not find a new place, right? Because the gods are over with...
Gods are giddy over it. They're tickled to death. They're pleased beyond words. They don't care.
Which gods are these? You talking about the ascended physical? Is that what you mean by God?
Yeah.
Or do you mean the Greek gods?
That's right. If they ascended there,
they're GINNEY of gods. The gods, so what have the gods, what have the ascended done? GINNEY?
The ascended physical and the becoming ascended who are aware of the role of the Coaphanites and the Ark of the Covenant and all these other aspects, and the covenant blessing of the thunders and the covenant that I made between me and me, are not worried about what's happening in the tech war.
Oh, yes, they have to be, because the Ark of the Covenant failed. All those terms you just referred to are not relevant to today. We got a new kind of Ark of the Covenant, which is the tech body, and it's helping and working with our ascended, what iON calls the ionic allies of iON, what he calls the non-physical. You see, you cannot
Okay, Bob, stop speaking. Stop. iON, the Ark of the Covenant failed.
Yes. It was not able to hold the power when the veil was rent in two.
Wait, I can't hear GINNEY. Did GINNEY disconnect?
No, I'm sitting right here.
Right there.
Well, you didn't finish your sentence. State your thing again, GINNEY.
I did. I said, iON, did the Ark of the Covenant fail? And iON said, yes, it could not hold the power when the veil was rent in two. What date was that?
Who was
the second Jesus? Well, no, it's the second Jesus when the veil was rent in two. That's when it was released. But it was 40 days before, 40 days after Pentecost, after Easter.
Okay, so somewhere between October of 2010, when we were talking about the seventh seal, and today, the Ark of the Covenant failed.
No, that image is obsolete. There's a new Ark of the Covenant.
Bob, please, I'm talking about the Ark of the Covenant that iON went through explicit detail describing through our Revelation series. If that failed, and iON went through great detail to explain it, I'm trying to figure out when it failed.
It failed when the second Jesus was crucified. After Jesus' ascension, when he ascended, that's when the veil was opened. That's when all the power was loosed. That's when they started finding, and then later they started finding a Jerusalem that was not. They started finding the Dead Sea Scrolls that were not. They started finding out all these different little pearls that were there, that the power had been released, and that the Eden was ready to grow fruit again. But it was a long journey and trek through. That would be pre-Mary McLuhan, Ginny.
I thought it was the third Jesus who got crucified, iON.
Second. They said, when was the veil rent? That was the second Jesus.
Well, that's new. And he's still around.
Second
that Jesus is still around.
That's right. That's right. And then power was absorbed by the second Jesus appropriately, and all others had the opportunity to, which then recharged the white stone, which then recharged the living water, which then reactivated what you ought to call in the eye cell now, an insulinos, which is nothing other than the contents of the manna that fell from the cloud the first time, the cloud of glory. And that's Bob's 40-year journey through the rabbit hole when he could have done the journey in 3 days. But he rejoices in the long journey and the engagement to see how many of the other enlightened ones he could put in the ground before time to go. And he hadn't even done the alien stuff yet, so it's pretty exciting from that side. So, Ginny, to answer your question, the empirical reference of when the Ark of the Covenant failed was then. But now that is the representation of the power and how it works. All right, and we even went through the details of where the actual Ark of the Covenant is now. And
yes, all I remember. I have all my notes.
Yes, darling, and that applies. And now it so much applies. How important that was is just as important here as you had the chance to take all your power right then, right there. Some of you are, and you're doing well. There's no contest here. But this is for the everybody aspect of the conversation. More people than you have not. And the more that have not, you have all this loosey-goosey power flowing around everywhere. And the angels are saying, hey, let's see what's going on. Let's move this around a little bit. Y'all going to put the wrong people in office, and they're going to start passing laws that mess things up. Let's just swirl that up a little bit. We'll just make it a little frosty. Let's make it a little something. That they'll be all spinning all over the place. And now everything becomes frothy milk and no content. So that's why your legislation is all but dead, gone, and done. Now what happens is they become ineffectual in every way because they can't do this and they can't do that and they can't do this. And everybody with money is a pedophile, and they run around molesting people for something, for shits and giggles or something to do until they get caught. Then they don't have their money, and then they can't get out of jail, and then they can't put up their $77 million house in New York because it's not enough. Although three times before they slipped right through it and there was no problem. He's got the lowest little mark he could ever get. Now all of a sudden he's getting drawn and quartered. He's like, ho. They're not going to be nice to him incarcerated. We can assure you it's not going to be pretty. So set that aside now, how things are rolling where you could just throw a little money at it. That was a representation of power. That was the first conversion from the Great Recession, what do you call that, Depression, and Hootervilles and Hoovervilles and that whole fall. That's another representation of how we must have power. We must have power. We must have power in the nothingness. And a Hoover dollar would buy something. A Hoover dollar was worth something. Or now dollars don't have much value, and you go to get a hamburger and it's $25 when it used to be $2.50, and you don't seem to mind. That's the escalation of money flowing freer, so it costs more, so it's freer, so you don't worry about it, and on and on and on. So now the next phase that comes into is, hey, Ginny, because people didn't take their power went somewhere, and now it's collected, and the angels have prescribed, we'll use this to distract you even more. And that's in the vial judgments, and you're the only ones, you and Sasha. Now, Sasha's notes are good now. Don't mess this up. They're good. But yours go linear, where you draw all the way across from the vial judgments. You're dealing with the churches, their condition. You're dealing with the lampstands. You're dealing with the vial judgments. You're dealing with all. We ain't even got to the two harlots that are still in the kicker at this point. All those things are applying and occurring simultaneously. That's the reason we said go laterally rather than all the seven judgments and all the seals and all those conditions. Rather than going up and down, go across. So you can see these things happening, as you said correctly, simultaneously. Okay. Now, the outcome of the simultaneity is in the hexad, the hexatic, which does indeed dismiss, kill the chip body. Finally, you remember we've been railing against that since the fall in 2009. We've been railing against that one because it was ridiculous. It was just taking a representation of your power and vomiting back whatever you put in. So you put crap in, you get crap out. Now you put whatever. No, that's not it. No, that's not right. No, that's not right. Not found. Not found. No. You got to know how to ask now. Now, in the word of the tech body, you got to know what to ask. And it'll take you somewhere. It's like, did you mean? Did you mean? No, this is what you meant. You don't even know. Why are you speaking? You don't even be talking. We got this. We'll tell you what you need to know. You're asking way too many questions. Stop. Don't molest us anymore. Serious, this can turn into a bitch now. We're going to tell you. And that's what's going to happen from the aspect or position that the tech body is going to be made stronger and stronger and stronger. Now, Bob is the dark soul, but he's not the Antichrist. There's a difference. The Antichrist representation becomes the tech body only because it's going to be embraced by everybody, sinner and saint alike. You can't even the Amish people who can't have it and can't stand it and don't do it still got to have electricity to keep their businesses working. Well, you hypocrite, how's that pure? You got doorknobs, that's a simple machine, you hypocrite. No wonder you got spookers in your house and your bread won't rise. No wonder you got the hank on you. See that spooky spiritual from the disconnect? We don't have a problem with that. We're not against Amish people. We love Lancaster. It's the most wonderful place in the world. They're the most delightful people in the world. We don't even have the issue that they're wholesome, but don't sit here and going to be some Philistine going to tell us how we're going to buy diamonds from the Syro-Phoenicians. That's a little different conversation. It ain't all that in a bag of chips, but yeah, they make the best apple fritters in the whole wide world. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. But they're still judged by the tech body, whether they want it or not, whether they believe. Why are they buying anything? Why would they come to Mooresville and say, hello, GINNEY, come help me out with this whole problem that we have, because the scriptures that I'm reading are your same scriptures, but you get something different out of it than I do. And you say, how did you hear those words, if not on the tech body? You see? Did someone send a carrier pigeon to tell them about the product? How did they find out about the product? How did REMAG come into their environment?
Carrier pigeon.
Gotcha.
Carrier pigeon.
Okay, good. That was so the ley lines. So the ley lines have changed and allowed them to get straight up to Pennsylvania to be able to access it, you see, because even the birds are confused now because they've even moved where north is, you see. And even your dark soul don't know which way the wind's blowing. If he's facing south in Maui, the wind's hitting him in the face. Which way the wind's blowing, he doesn't know. It's okay, though. It's not a problem because you apparently don't need to know. Now what's happening is even the things that are not included are still judged by this tech body. And it's just it's not in its beginning stages, but it's astounding people because it's smarter than they are, so they make it where you can't figure it out. You can't type and you can't do this. You don't type, you can't read, you don't listen, you don't know, you don't include.
Okay, so iON. So instead of having who was it, Will Guy or Tom Hanks or something blow up the AI, you're saying that the EMP has to take it out, otherwise mankind is doomed? Is that kind of what the message is?
Is this the dinosaur extinction story?
Wait.
Yeah.
What did iON say? Is that going to take that? What did you say, iON?
You'll see.
Oh, you'll see. You see, so someone was telling me today that Trump is...
But no, wait, iON, you said that earlier. I'm asking... Said that only an EMP can take it out.
Yeah, and we said, you're asking that, and we said it. Now you're asking again, and we said, you're going to see it. You'll see.
Yeah, it's not that simple, because he said in that thing I played, the tech body, the EMP might not be completely successful. It implied it may not completely wipe itself out. That was a passing remark. But what you just evoked here, Jimmy, is the tech body is the Antichrist. And so you've got people anthropomorphically, physically projecting that Trump is Hitler. And, of course, the Bible presents a chemical body in all the scenarios of the Armageddon and Apocalypse. You've got to change your images, which is the reason we had art and science, to change your images through all the last 1,500 years of zeitgeist. And now we have new images that I'm explaining, and so those idiots will project the simple body scenario. Oh, when I know and I'm ascended, and they say, oh, shit, Trump is the Antichrist. Trump is a fake. It's not the Antichrist. It's a tech body. There's no human image in it. Is that correct, Ian? Am I getting close to what I'm trying to say?
Well, precisely that, but here's an even better point. Even Adolf Hitler didn't molest as many women as Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King Jr., the 60s guy.
Well, we'd have said Daddy King if we were talking about his daddy, Martin Luther King.
Are you talking about Martin Luther King, the famous guy, gets shot in 68? His father molested many people.
No, Martin Luther King, as you're saying, Jr., molested more people and was more hurtful to more women than Adolf Hitler was.
Well, did Hitler molest many people?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. So you just have to do 5 people and you beat Hitler.
But what does that have to do with Trump? I missed the segue there. Did you get it, Bob?
Okay. Yes, you mean the Martin Luther King reason. Yeah, what's that got to do with what have you refined on people projecting anthropomorphic Hitler on Trump, a chemical body? What did you just explain more there, Ian, with the Hitler point?
That your icons, the marvelous things that you're supporting, is something that broke the chains and opened things up and made things better for everybody else, was a bit of a hypocrite. At least Hitler was clean in what he was trying to do. Hitler was trying to do the same thing you're doing, Bob.
Yeah, they're putting the wrong enemy on it. They should put, Jeffrey Epstein. Put Jeffrey on there. But are you saying...
Well, you make up somebody. All Hitler was trying to do was what you're trying to do, Bob. Only you're trying to provide ascension so they have the capacity. He was trying to breed, just like Deuteronomy, Ginny Bell, just like Deuteronomy in the begatting stages to figure out who begat whom. He was trying to breed a super race. He was trying to use science. Y'all love that so damn much. He was trying to use science to breed a perfect breed of people. And apparently, the things that were close to lamb's blood, which in those days were the tribes of Israel, he had to get shed of because he kept bumping into them into the genome. They were a little smarter than they were given credit for in this process of the blue-eyed, fair mind.
So to project Trump, to use Hitler is silly. That's the point, Ginny. You don't say the ultimate evil is Hitler. He was nice in many ways compared to this Epstein circuit. But you get closer to what the image is of what the tech body is through Croker's writings. His 90s writings describe this monster tech body, which has left the chemical body a little far behind. So no cultural images of paintings, of movies, of chemical bodies applies where we're at now. And iON came in to deal with that, to provide us a little assistance against the coming tech body. So, iON, would you correct what I'm saying? Would you add to it? Would you tell Greg Duffel to go fuck himself and stop typing nonsense and pay attention?
No, he's doing a great job of that to himself. It's all good. It's no worries.
Yeah, look at that. Look at Greg's ridiculous typings. So Ginny, so what is Trump? The last trumpet. What is Donald Trump? Well, iON tells us that he's a guy on our products. He's working with iON. He had nobody to run against in the election. He used Twitter. Scott Talkington is the one who made that statement, as far as I know, that nobody ran against Trump in 2016. So he was on another level. Everybody keeps thinking he's a human being. So the tech body and non-physical and the angels includes, those factors that make up the icon Trump. You get that, Ginny? Trump is made up of the tech body, the angels, the non-physical, and Bob, and the simulation of the dark soul. That is what the Bible didn't do. He didn't spell it out. And then artists and scientists try to spell out factors over the last 500 years, and then you get Croker getting really close, and no one reads Croker, no one understands Croker, it's too crazy, but it's exactly what iON's saying. And now we don't know what iON is. We can't image iON. We can't image the angels. We can't image what we're dealing with. So you become an automatic zombie on the bread of life, the living water.
Okay, Bob, that sounds great. Sign me up.
How do you do it?
Wonderful.
You can call that knowing. You can call that knowing, but you still got to interact with language and the mind extensions that we have here. So, what do you say to that, iON? What would you add to that? How does this bring Carolyn back in so Carolyn doesn't go home? How do you the key? Are we describing the past 2 hours, iON? Are we doing key 5?
You're still in the fifth. Still in key 5.
Still in the fifth,
almost through.
No. We're not, But I have Carolyn right here. She's in the chart, and what was said back then in 2011 was that Bob introduces iON as the non-physical extension of physical.
Yes, that was good.
So, yes, we have to get back into the physical or you're going to lose your bride, Bob.
Yes.
That's post Mary McLuhan.
That's right. There you go.
Mary McLuhan. So what do you say, Carolyn? You've been not listening for 2 hours, eating pizza, partying with JW. What are you going to say now?
Yeah. Oh, on mute. Yeah, JW or iON has been...
I don't think, are you hearing Carolyn? Ginny, move away so that it's not cheating. I don't think she's coming through. Yeah,
Carolyn is muted, or doesn't sound right.
Carolyn. Oh, no, I unmute you. If I figure out which one you are.
347.
It doesn't, okay, I got it. All right, so I'm unmuting you, Carolyn. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
Yeah, when you were asking what Carolyn and JW were doing, JW or iON has been texting me during all this.
What's he saying?
See, no, echo.
Three different tweets, each with one word?
No, Bob.
Oh, see, no echo. Oh, well, there's no echo here?
I guess not.
Well, there is with you and I, but iON is saying sitting there's no echo.
Right.
I can't remember if it was.
Well, you would have noticed. But anyway, very interesting. Ginny brings up some good points, evokes a whole bunch of new things. So every time we go over the keys, we'll have a whole different set of words. That's what we're proving. Yeah. So we could do the keys. We could have a Saturday show that is all about the keys every week for the next year. But we won't.
Well, we come back to it. Okay, so here's what iON said back in 2015.
Oh, there goes the echo, Bob. Sorry.
Well, that's because Carolyn's nearby. Now she's moved away. No echo now, right? Oh, if she goes on mute, there's no echo. So, Carolyn, this is a transcription that Bert made this week, and I posted it a few hours ago. It's item number 5. Dr. Dean has perfected the way the body processes protein. And it's July 18th, 2015. iON says, everybody's worried about their weight, but we tell you that the scales are going to change. Well, does that mean I'm heavier or not? No, it's going to be all about body mass. Dr. Dean has perfected the way the body processes protein, and she's perfecting exactly the way protein interacts with the body. Now, and then iON goes, now, okay. Bob's helping a little bit. Bob's working out all of the strands of the amino acids and figuring out exactly which amino acids and which one without L-arginine and how much L-arginine it won't have that will be significant. Bob's doing all that. So kudos to Bob again. He once again is saving the day. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. So it starts off praising Carolyn and then veers off to praising Bob. Note that, people. Figure that one out. Anyways, we're working together, me and Carolyn, and I don't know how to finish the paragraph. Oh.
And whichever one lives through the helping each other, I guess will win. What do you think? Happy anniversary. No, happy anniversary. No, happy anniversary. Well, better luck next year. Happy anniversary.
Okay, so iON, my final question for tonight on the fifth key, and then I'm going to wrap up, is let somebody else talk. I just want to ask iON about covalent bonding, ion and covalent bonding as it relates to the 7 lampstands.
That's how they connect. Look at the line in the fifth key. Vessels to water the earth with her creatures, and they are the brothers of the first and the second, and the beginning of their own seats, which are garnished with continually burning lamps. 69,636 numbers.
Okay. All right, very good. Okay.
Are as the first, the ends, and your contents of time. Okay, hold on 1 second. These, keeping your lamps wicks trimmed and burning, which means you keep the oil in them. Okay, those are significant from the covalency of the cellular structure.
Okay, and in my notes, I also have circled the word vessels, and then around it I have written hydrogen.
Yeah. The polypeptide bonds, how many polypeptide bonds are there in a natural cell?
I don't know that part.
Okay, it's exactly 69,636 per cell.
69,632, and this says continually burning lamps, 69,636. So where's the other 4? In the existing strands?
That's what you're beginning with. That's your beginning part. That's what you got now.
Okay.
4. But you got to have all the amino acids for that to apply. See, that's
but Carolyn's already found them in the crown of thorns.
That's correct. And so now they got to be released. Okay? They got to be released. Then science has got to look, because you got to do a study to see if they are not, or they might be, or they could have been, if they fit in the chart that fits down from the A, B, B, C, C, D, D, the ABC. That's Bob's ABC, people. They got to fit in the amino acid chart.
I'm on. Okay, this 69 blah blah thousand. If you're talking about 4 being left over, you're implying that's the DNA. So 69 blah blah thousand is nucleic acids, not polypeptide chains.
No.
We
didn't say chains. We said the number of polypeptide bonds.
But polypeptides, they don't make DNA, RNA. It's nucleic acids.
No, it's not. It's not affecting the nucleic acid. It's affecting the number of strata. For example, each RNA strata chain, we're talking about 144,000 of those. So those polypeptide bonds have to swirl, and the swirl makes a bonding. And her only question is covalent bonding. That's what this is about. Because that's what she's asking, and it's perfect to ask that right here, right now, because it's the only place that it's going to apply in this key.
Right.
It's the soup. It's the anthropomorphic soup that you would use to make this fit. Now, we would say it's not the heart, it's the pericardial fluid that allows that to stay together. Because you can't take 144,000 double helix strands out of a frog and make something. But asexually, a frog could replicate 144,000 double helix strands without anything. See? So that's the number of polypeptide bonds that allow those strands to be, it's the soup it can stay in. It goes back. Somebody might have mentioned something about those Cheerio C's in the hearts. That hooked in the carbon, the little C's, hooked them together, trying to find enough electrons to make those stay. You got to have the soup in order for that to hold. See, the same issue that you had with that crazy flavored Remag wouldn't hold in solution. The same thing that there wasn't enough bonds to hold it. to make it be. And then finally decided, well, wait a second. This is the most wonderful thing that's ever been wonderful that ever was wonderful. Take it or don't take it, die. We don't care. We make it available. Hey, the slops in the trough. If the hogs come eat it, come eat it. If you don't, we ain't mad. Don't make any difference. But that's the same issue that would not allow it to consistently stay in solution. Same thing with your polypeptide bonds. And that's what Jenny perfectly brought up to say this is the ring and the angel diagram, the distance between the 13th and the 14th ring with the covalent. Remember, like the valence and the valent, the curtain cover, and then how it applies, and that's settled in the space between those two of the cell. The one, like a zygote, when it blocks it so no other sperm can enter the cell, it's locked off. That's that bonding that covers as a protective line. That's the same thing that would typically say you can't have 144,000 double helix strands because it locks off. And then the middle of the cell locks and says, don't make another one. Locks, don't make another one. Which is what you're saying, which has nothing to do with polypeptide conditions. It's once that splits, what do you do with that? Once it splits and keeps making rather than cutting off, where is that done? In a covalent bond. Otherwise, those strands would be against it. You would literally have a horn growing out your ear.
Right.
Or something.
Got it. We're in the soup.
Good. That's astute, y'all, because people are going to question things, and then when she's got that straightened out, they're going to go, oh. So that's good.
Hey, Carolyn, why did you go when the 69,000 number or something around then was said by iON?
Just the number meant something. You know, you see this number in the middle of the key, and what the heck is that? And all of a sudden, it's polypeptide bond. Yay!
Oh, that's the number in the key. Okay,
and Jenny, it goes back to where you're the only one when we did lampstands originally about the wicks and keeping them trimmed and keeping them burning. And like all of Hanukkah is how the battle lasted, that their oil lasted longer than it could, 8 crazy nights, longer than it was possible to last. The same thing with these bonds and how those apply in the connection places. So you mean to tell us that without the lampstands you can't ascend? That is exactly correct. Because until you have the soup to hold the ascension, it'll never take. That's why Jesus, when he come out of the tomb and he was walking on the Emmaus Road and they was trying to get busy with him, he said, hold on. Don't touch me yet. My ascension is not yet complete. Exactly.
Yeah, and there's a question about that ion. People are saying, why couldn't he be touched? Did we talk about that yet?
Because of 69,636 polypeptide bonds that had not completely sealed in lampstands that wicks were not properly trimmed.
Awesome.
And they are the brothers of the first and second, and the beginning of their own seats, which are garnished with continually burning lamps, 69,636, whose numbers are as the first and the ends and the contents of time. It's all of Deuteronomy in reverse. It's the path back to your place. It's how it was supposed to work. Now, that's all the science behind it, but who gives a flip about science? You got the tech body fixing to get you messed up. You have no idea, because everybody's going to follow what the tech body says, and it's going to be deliberately wrong or inappropriate, because the tech body is going to say, we don't give a fuck. You don't run nothing. Get over there and sit down somewhere. Nobody listen to you. Who are you? Get your little podcast and get the fuck off somewhere. You ain't nobody. What do you think you run? You don't run nothing.
Say something.
Say something.
So that sounds like Trump.
Yeah.
That sounds like Trump, iON.
We'll bust a cap up in your ass. That's what we'll do. And then what happens is you turn around and you go, why is this machine speaking to us like that? And then they can say, goddamn, on South Park, everything's up in the air now. It's on like Donkey Kong. And you can say goddamn on cartridge. Boy, in the day you got octagon soap in your mouth, you said you took the Lord's name in vain. That's exactly right, because you are the God, and if you don't come into your player's place of power, officially you are damned. That's what it means. That's exactly what it means. And that's why it would be quite blasphemous to do that, because you'd be further complimenting yourself as a doomed God. You better know it. It's not that God damned, it is that you're the God that's damned. So, God, where's your goddamn God? You got something about that?
This is how Trump sounds. So Trump is the tech body.
He represents it.
Represents it, yeah.
He represents the seat. He represents the seat of authority, and he says his economy, his rule and reign is the biggest in the world. That every economy follows the master, the dragon. I said the dragon again. Go get the mountain, Lord. It's gonna be a big deal. And it's a hot time in the old town tonight, because now what's happening? Things are starting to click. And that's what you see. Now, some 3 or 4 people that has left CNN to actually listen to this gobbledygook, they're actually starting to put some of the pieces together, and it's amazing.
Yes.
But don't get over 5. If you get over 5, it'll probably go ugly. You know how those bodies are.